Hello and welcome to Daily News Simplified. Here we will take up the news articles from The Hindu of Delhi edition and discuss them as per the demands of UPSC Civil Services exam. The topics for today's discussion are listed on your screen. Let us begin our discussion. The first article of today's discussion is based on this particular news, which talks about the demolition of urban shelters in Delhi. This news has appeared on page number 3 in The Hindu. You can relate this particular news with General Studies 4 ethics paper. Specifically under case studies section, such a case can appear in the mains exam, which says you are a secretary of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and there is a colony which has been set up illegally by the migrants who have came outside from the state for their betterment, and you are being directed that this colony should be demolished as it is creating lot of problems in commutation around the city. So what are the key ethical issues involved in this case and what could be the way forward in such situation? You can write down the ethical issues in the comment section. Meanwhile, we will discuss this case study. So what are the ethical issues involved in the case? The first one is lack of compassion on the part of state or the agencies which are involved in this particular demolition case. And in most of the cases, the demolition exercise is conducted by state agencies without providing the adequate compensation to the affected people, and it shows lack of compassion towards the poor people of the country. The second ethical issue is the disrespect for human dignity. As we all know, the basic elements of human dignity are food, shelter and clothing, and when a state or non-state actor compels someone to become homeless, this amounts to disrespect their human dignity. The third one is failure of state. As we are aware that there is a social contract between the government and the people who are being governed, in which the state is morally and legally obliged to ensure the welfare of the people. And by such demolition drive, the state is going against its obligations under the social contract. The fourth one is the means are compromised for the ends. Now what are the ends here? The one end here can be to make the commutation easy for the people. Such colonies and shelters are being constructed illegally and they makes the commutation difficult in and around the city. The second end can be to make the city clean or to provide better sanitation facilities for the citizens, as most of these shelters are lacking the basic sanitation facilities and it creates further problems like the spread of diseases. To meet these ends, the means are being compromised. The fifth one is the displacement of people. Now you must be wondering how it can be an ethical issue that they are living illegally on a particular place. But these people are living here for many years, and by displacement of the people, their livelihood will be disrupted and the social ties which they have created with others will also break. So it is an ethical issue. The next one is lack of transparency, as most of the demolition drives are being carried out without proper notice or explanation, and it amounts to the issue of lack of transparency in the procedures to be followed. The next one is selective targeting. In today's article of demolition of urban shelters, majority of the people who are staying there are TB patients or the patients with mental disability. So the demolition will further lead to discrimination and marginalization of those particular sections of society and resulting into selective targeting of specific groups or community. The last one is the violation of property rights, as there are many guidelines by the courts that if someone is living in a particular property for many years, he cannot be removed arbitrarily or without compensation. So it is again an important ethical issue. As we have discussed multiple ethical issues involved in the case, so what should be the way forward? If you are posted as a secretary who can make a policy decision, so what it should be? You can write your way forward in the comment section. So what could be the solution premise? The first one is geomap. Now how does it help? If we can map the whole area, we can stop the mindless regularization of illegal colonies and unauthorized structures. So it can be a one solution. The second one is land use planning. The land use planning can help in creating a balance between different land uses and the conflicting land uses. So it can help in resolving the problem. The third one is regularization. Now how it can be a solution? If we regularize the illegal colonies, a detailed study can be conducted on the colonies which are being constructed illegally, and if those colonies are not impacting the governance of state at large, they can be accommodated in adequate manner. Further, the rethinking criteria of categorization. There has to be a proper criteria which colonies are deemed illegal and unstructured so that it will reduce the confusion among the policymakers. The next one is monitoring. There should be development monitoring at the city level so that it can help in preventing the new unauthorized colonies from cropping up. The next one is creating employment in rural areas. Now you must be thinking that how it can be a solution. As we all know, the poor people migrate to cities in search of employment opportunities. Most of the people who are living in these shelters are the people who are migrating from rural areas. So if we create employment opportunities in rural areas, it will further reduce the problem of illegal colonies and unauthorized structures in the urban areas, and the uncontrolled flow of rural migrants can also be curbed. Now how to do this? We can create self-help group, promote food processing industries, and the next one is ensuring distributive justice, as it is the responsibility of state to ensure justice in society, and it also includes the distributive justice through which the rural migrants can avail the facility of affordable housing in the urban areas. And the last one is inclusion of affordable houses under CSR. Now, corporate social responsibility is an area where private players came into picture and they invest 2% of their profit for societal benefit. So this facility can be used by government and they can mandate that companies build affordable houses under the CSR scheme. In this way, you can frame a solution for such problems. So whenever you come across such issues, try to identify the ethical issues involved in that particular case and also think of some solutions which you can provide if a case study is asked based on that particular issue. In this article, we have discussed the context, its relevance for the ethics paper, we have discussed the ethical issues involved and the solution premise, under which we have outlined few measures which can be brought into practice for the welfare of people. This particular news, which has appeared on page number 10 in The Hindu, it basically talks about the disruption of proceedings in Lok Sabha by the opposition members who are demanding of setting up the Joint Parliamentary Committee on the Adani issue. And they also raised their concern on the disqualification of Rahul Gandhi after his conviction by the Gujarat High Court in criminal defamation case. Now the office of speaker is important for our exam perspective as it is being directly mentioned in the syllabus of General Studies paper 2, in which the subsection includes parliament, its structure, functioning and conduct of business. So speaker plays an important role in the functioning of Indian Parliament, and we must be aware about the key issues which are revolving around the office of speaker. As you can see, in the year 2020, UPSC has specifically asked a question on speaker. So this area becomes important for our discussion. The structure of today's discussion will be, firstly, we will discuss who is speaker, how he is getting elected, and what is the procedure of its removal. Further, we will see what is the role, powers and functions of speaker in Indian parliamentary system. After that, we will also discuss the issues which are related to the office of speaker and the mechanism in India to ensure the neutrality of speaker. And finally, we will conclude with a way forward to make the office of speaker more robust, neutral and impartial. Let us first discuss who is speaker and how he gets elected and what is the procedure of removal of speaker. Speaker is the presiding officer of Lok Sabha and he presides over the meetings of Lok Sabha to ensure that the proceedings are conducted in accordance with the rules and procedures, and he is elected amongst the members of Lok Sabha as soon as after the first meeting of newly elected Lok Sabha, and the date of election is fixed by the president. Further, the speaker will vacate his office in 3 conditions: if he ceases to be a member of Lok Sabha, secondly, if he resigns by writing it to deputy speaker of Lok Sabha, thirdly, if he is removed by the resolution passed by majority of all the then members of Lok Sabha, which is famously known as the effective majority, and such a resolution can be moved only after giving a 14 days notice to the speaker. Now we have understood that who is speaker, how he is getting elected, and what is the procedure for his removal. Now we should discuss what is the role, powers and functions of speaker in the Indian parliamentary system. The first one is maintenance of order in the house, as the speaker has the power to suspend or expel a member who violates the rules of the house or behaves in a disorderly manner. It is the prime responsibility of speaker to maintain order and decorum in the house. The second role is the decision-making power. It is the speaker who decides on the admissibility of questions, motions, and he also decides on the allocation of time for discussion and debates. Now, what kind of motions we are talking about? It can be a privilege motion, and it is concerned with the breach of parliamentary privilege by a minister. And the other motion can be adjournment motion, which are introduced in the House to draw attention to a definite matter of urgent importance, and it also needs the support of 50 members. Further, the Speaker has role in parliamentary committees, which ensures that the parliament remains accountable to the people of the country. And it is the Speaker who appoints the members and chairpersons of all parliamentary committees of Lok Sabha, and he also supervises their functioning. Now these committees include Public Accounts Committee, which is also known as PAC, the other one is Estimates Committee, and the third one is Committee on Public Undertakings. Now the fourth function is casting vote. Now what does it mean? Now whenever House comes to vote on a certain issue, and if there is a situation of tie, then how it will be resolved? In normal circumstances, Speaker does not vote in first instance, but he can exercise a casting vote in the case of tie to resolve the deadlock. So it is also an important function which is being played by Speaker. Further, the disqualification of members. The Speaker has the power to disqualify members of Lok Sabha on the grounds of defection under the 10th schedule of Indian Constitution. And lastly, regarding the money bill, as many of you must be aware that it is the Speaker who decides whether a bill is a money bill or not, and his decision on this question is final. As we have discussed that there are vast powers which are being conferred on Speaker, and it makes the role of Speaker very crucial in ensuring the smooth functioning of Parliament and maintaining the integrity of democratic process in India. Now due to these powers, certain challenges also emerge, and few of them are: the first one is the partisan role which is being played by Speaker, as there is no convention in the Indian Constitution that Speaker should relinquish their party membership after getting elected to the office of Speaker. So they remain a member of their political parties, and they are often perceived as being partisan. Further, the anti-defection law, as this law assigns the responsibility of deciding whether a member should be disqualified or not to the Speaker. And this discretionary power can be exploited by the ruling party to eliminate the dissenting voice. A famous case of Manipur Assembly highlights this particular issue, in which a lawmaker and a forest minister, Mr. Shyam Kumar, was initially in BJP but fought and won election on Congress ticket, and he later defected to join BJP to become a minister in Manipur in 2017. And he was finally removed from his office after filing petition in the Supreme Court. The role of Speaker in deciding the disqualification on the grounds of defection has become a contentious issue in the Indian parliamentary system. Now you must be wondering whether this power is absolute or not. How many of you are aware about the 1992 case of Kihoto Holohan, in which the Supreme Court has said that the decision of Speaker is subject to judicial review? So yes, there is a remedy which is available to the members if they find that the justice has not been done and they are not treated fairly in the Indian Parliament or State Assembly. Try to remember this case, Kihoto Holohan, as it is an important case, which ensures the sanctity of Indian Parliament and democratic process in India. Such historical judgments are important for our UPSC mains exam, as in the year 2016, UPSC has directly asked a question related to IR Coelho case. So, if you have any idea about such case, you could write an answer by framing your arguments. That is the only purpose of highlighting such cases in this discussion. Further, the determination of money bill is always in debate, as in the case of Aadhaar bill, the Speaker has been criticized for certifying that bill as a money bill to bypass the debate and discussion in the upper house, which is Rajya Sabha. Apart from these issues, there is another issue which is related to the rule of 373 of Rules and Procedure and Conduct of Business, in which by using that, Speaker can suspend the member from assembly or remove him or her from the further proceedings of the day. Try to remember this. Now, what is being done to ensure the neutrality of Speaker in the Indian parliamentary system? The mechanisms in Indian parliamentary system are as follows. The first one is the security of tenure, as the Speaker can be removed only by a resolution passed by Lok Sabha with an effective majority. We have already discussed this. It is the majority of all the then members of the House, by excluding the absent and vacant members. The second one is the salaries and allowance. They are fixed by Parliament and are charged on the Consolidated Fund of India, and they are also not subject to the annual vote of Parliament. The third mechanism is the casting vote. As the speaker cannot vote at first instance and he can only exercise a casting vote in the event of tie, that ensures the speaker remains politically neutral and impartial during the conduct of the House. Now, after discussing all the powers, issues and mechanisms related to speaker, what should be the way forward so that the office of speaker becomes more robust, more accommodative and impartial during the conduct of business in the House? The first one is related to 10th schedule. The powers under the 10th schedule in deciding the disqualification on the grounds of defection should be transferred to President and Governor of the state. It has also been recommended by 2nd ARC, Election Commission and Dinesh Goswami Committee. The second one is building trust. Now, how to build a trust in the office of speaker? By making speaker's decisions publicly available. It will increase the transparency in the decision-making process by the speaker. Thirdly, the political neutrality. Speaker should resign from his party after getting elected to the office of speaker, as it is being a convention in Britain. Similar kind of exercise can be adopted in India to make the office of speaker politically neutral. To summarize this discussion, firstly, we discussed about the recent context, the office of speaker, the powers, functions and role of speaker in Indian parliamentary system, the issues related to speaker and the mechanism in Indian parliamentary system to ensure the neutrality of speaker, and finally the way forward to ensure the integrity of democratic process in India. Now as we have discussed the various dimensions related to the office of speaker, you can try to write this question in 250 words. The next article of today's discussion is based on this news article and it has appeared on page number 13 in The Hindu. The context of this particular news is that India is hosting the meeting of security advisors from SCO countries, which will also be attended by the Secretary of Security Council of Russia. It is expected that the focus of the meeting will be on developments which are happening in Afghanistan and the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Now, whenever you come across such news articles, the most important question should come into your mind that why this news is important and why you should keep a track on such news. International relations is a subtopic under General Studies paper 2 of your UPSC mains exam, and there is also a mention of international institutions and agencies. And in the year 2021, UPSC has asked a question on SCO regarding its aims and objective and what importance does it hold for India? By looking at this question, such organizations become important for our discussion. Along with mains exam, it is equally important for your prelims exam also. And you should be aware about the key aspects associated with Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now in this discussion, firstly we will see what the SCO is, which countries are part of it, and the recent Samarkand Declaration of SCO. We will also cover the SCO Business Council and the SCO Interbank Consortium, which was in news recently. So what is SCO? It is a permanent and intergovernmental international organization which was formed in 2001. It is the world's largest regional organization in terms of geographic scope and population. It covers approximately 60% of Eurasia. It covers 60% of the area of Eurasia, 40% of world population, and more than 30% of global GDP. And SCO is a successor of Shanghai 5. Shanghai 5, it is a political association based on the agreement on confidence building in the military field in the border area and the agreement on mutual reduction of armed forces. This was the brief discussion on SCO. Now we will see which countries are members of this organization. It has 9 full-time members. The first one is Kazakhstan, second is China, third one is Kyrgyzstan, fourth one is Russia, the fifth one is Tajikistan, sixth one is Uzbekistan, seventh is India, eighth is Pakistan, and the latest member which is included in this particular organization is Iran. It became full-time member in 2023. Try to remember this particular fact as it can be asked in UPSC prelims exam, which is going to be held on 28 May 2023. In this context, the UFA summit of 2015 is very important as during this summit, SCO admitted India and Pakistan as full members to this organization, and India participated for the first time as full member at Qingdao summit, which was held in China in 2018. Try to remember such facts as they can be asked directly or indirectly in UPSC prelims exam. The Samarkand Declaration of 2022 has 4 key takeaways. The first one is the presidentship was handed over to India for the year 2023. The SCO summit in India is going to be held, and the SCO summit of 2023 is going to be held at Goa in the month of May. The second point is Iran was accepted as full-time member of SCO. The third point is Varanasi was accepted as cultural and tourism capital. And the fourth one is the declaration calls for a commitment to peaceful resolution of disagreements and the issues among the countries via communication and consultation. Now we will take forward our discussion to SCO Business Council. It was founded in 2006 at Shanghai. It is a non-government entity that unites the highly authoritative business community representatives of SCO member states. It is an independent institution capable of taking advisory decisions and assessments regarding the involvement of members of business communities. One more interesting fact associated with this particular organization is that its permanent headquarters is situated at Moscow and not at Shanghai. Although it was founded at Shanghai, but its headquarters is situated at Moscow. Remember this fact for your prelims exam. Now moving on to the other organization which was in news, the SCO Interbank Consortium. As you can see, it was established in 2005 to provide funding and banking services for investment projects sponsored by governments of SCO member states. Further, the members of this particular consortium, all the members of SCO except Iran. And the Indian company which is member to this organization is IFSC, Indian Infrastructure and Finance Company. Further, China is the largest economic power in SCO and India has now become the second largest economic power in SCO. Now we have discussed the two organizations which were related to the finance sector, taking forward our discussion to the military cooperation. As SCO holds the military exercises and it plays an important role in military engagements and securities of the country. The first exercise which you can see here is the Peace Mission of 2018. It was conducted in Russia and it became the first platform for joint military engagement between India and Pakistan after UN peacekeeping mission. Just try to remember this piece of information. The second military exercise was called Center. It was conducted in 2019 by Russia and all the members of SCO participated in this exercise. In this article, we have broadly discussed the context of this news, its relevance in the UPSC mains exam. As you can see, a direct question in 2021. We have also discussed what is SCO, how important this organization is, what are the key members of this organization. Further, we talked about UFA Summit of 2015, in which India and Pakistan were included in SCO as full members, the SCO Business Council, SCO Interbank Consortium, and the military cooperation of SCO members. Always try to cover such topics by considering the different dimensions, be it political, economy, or military. By incorporating such dimensions, you can enrich your answers to manyfold. The next article for today's discussion is based on constitutional bodies and it has appeared on page number 1. In this article, the Prime Minister of India has launched a scathing attack on the forces within and outside the country to undermine the constitutional institutions that were cracking down on corruption and the corrupt people. As constitutional bodies is an important and recurring theme in UPSC mains exam, this topic comes under General Studies paper 2, subtopic under GS paper 2 talks about the constitutional posts and constitutional bodies. So it is important for us to cover the constitutional bodies along with their articles, appointing authority, their tenure and removal, the eligibility for further appointments, and the powers which are conferred to them by the constitution itself. As you can see, in the year 2020, UPSC has asked about which steps are required for constitutionalization of a commission. And do you think imparting constitutionality to National Commission for Women could ensure greater gender justice and empowerment in India? You have to give reasons for it. And similarly, in the year 2022, UPSC has asked that discuss the role of National Commission for Backward Classes in the wake of its transformation from a statutory body to constitutional body. In the light of these two questions, constitutional bodies became an important theme in the UPSC Civil Services exam. Moreover, every year at least one question in UPSC prelims exam comes directly from the constitutional bodies. As you can see, in the year 2017, UPSC has asked about the Election Commission of India, which is also a constitutional body created under Article 324. In this question, you are required to identify which of the following statements is or are correct. The first statement says, Election Commission is a 5-member body. It is not a correct statement, as Election Commission is a 3-member body, not a 5-member body. And the second statement says, Union Ministry of Home Affairs decides the election schedule for the conduct of both general elections and by-elections. It is not a prerogative of Union Ministry of Home Affairs. So this statement is incorrect. The moment you eliminate this particular statement, you will reach the correct answer. As you can see here, if you eliminate 2, you'll be left only with one option, which is D, and it is the correct answer. Now taking our discussion forward, today we will discuss 4 constitutional bodies. The first one is GST Council, second one is Finance Commission, the third one is Comptroller and Auditor General, and fourth one is Election Commission. As you can see that in the year 2017, UPSC has specifically asked the 101st Amendment Act 2016 of the Constitution, and GST Council is an important body which regulates the taxation system in the country. We must be aware about the key facts associated with this particular organization. As you all know that it has been created by the 101 Constitution Amendment Act 2016. This Constitutional Amendment Act paved the way for introduction of new taxation regime, which is also known as Goods and Services Tax, famously called GST. As the smooth and efficient administration of the taxation, the cooperation and coordination between state and centers is required. And in order to facilitate that consultation process, the 101 Constitution Amendment Act provided for the establishment of Goods and Services Tax Council, which is also known as GST Council. Now one must be aware about the composition of the council. The Finance Minister of India is the chairperson of this council. The Union Minister of State in charge of Revenue and Finance is also a member. And the third one is the Minister in charge of Finance or taxation or any other minister nominated by each state government. So you must be getting an idea from here that it is a joint forum of center and states. Now all the decisions which are related to goods and services tax are made by this particular council through its meetings, and every decision of the council is to be taken by majority of not less than 3/4 of the total weighted votes of the members present and voting. And how these votes are being divided among center and states? The vote of central government will have a weightage of 1/3 of the total votes, and state governments and the weightage of state government's vote is 2/3 of the total votes cast in the meeting. So these are the broad principles on which GST Council works, and the decisions are being made by consensus. So it is more of a consultative and cooperative approach as compared to the traditional approach. It was a short description about the GST Council. Now we will move to the next constitutional body, which is known as Finance Commission. It is established by the Constitution of India under Article 280. It is constituted by the President. Further, it is constituted by President of India every 5th year or at such earlier time as he considers necessary. So it is the President who constitutes the Finance Commission, and the appointment of members is also done by President, and the Finance Commission has total 5 members. 1 is the chairman and 4 are other members. They are also eligible for further appointments in the center government. Now what are the functions played by Finance Commission? The first function of Finance Commission is that it decides the basis for sharing the taxes between center and states. The second one is that Finance Commission make recommendation to the President regarding the principles that should govern the grants and aid to the states by center. And the third function is that it takes up any matter which is referred to it by the President in the interest of sound finance. So these are the functions played by Finance Commission in India. Finance Commission plays an important role in the financial management of the country, and UPSC in 2018 directly asked a question on Finance Commission, how it is being constituted and what do you know about the terms of reference. One should be aware about the key aspects associated with Finance Commission. Moving on to the next body, which is the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Again in 2018, UPSC has directly asked a question on CAG, that it plays a vital role in the country. It is a constitutional body under Article 148, and his appointment is made by the President of India. Further, he holds the office for the tenure of 6 years or till the age of 65 years, whichever comes earlier. And he can be removed from his post in a similar manner as the removal of Judge of Supreme Court. One important aspect related to CAG is that he is not eligible for further appointment in any government organization. What are the powers of CAG? He audits the following accounts. The first one is Consolidated Fund of India, Contingency Fund of India, Public Account of India, and in a similar fashion for each of the state governments. CAG is also the guardian of the public purse, and he controls the entire financial system of the country at both the levels of state and center. These are the important aspects related to the office of CAG. The last body for today's discussion is Election Commission of India. It is constituted under Article 324 of the Constitution, and it is a permanent and independent body established by Constitution directly to ensure the free and fair elections in the country. In the year 2022, UPSC has asked a question which says that discuss the role of election commission in the light of evolution of model code of conduct. As we have seen that UPSC has repeatedly asked a question on constitutional body in almost each year. So one should cover the constitutional bodies in detail. Now the election commission is a 3-member body. All of them are appointed by President of India, and the tenure for election commissioners is 6 years or 65 years, whichever is earlier. And they are eligible for further appointment in government service. Now what are the powers of election commission? The first one is to conduct the elections in the country, both at central level and state level. And to conduct elections for the local bodies, the state election commissions are constituted for that purpose. The other function is registration of the political party under section 29A of Representation of People's Act 1951. So these are the broad powers which are being conferred on Election Commission by the Constitution of India. So that's all for today's discussion. Thank you for watching today's DNS. Stay tuned for the upcoming sessions which will give you wider perspective on different topics for the UPSC mains exam.